This is Joe Deckelmeyer at San Diego Comic-Con 2023 here with Screen Rant. I'm with Ghost of Ruin creator,
showrunner,
Mike Ryan, and AleXa. How you guys doing today?
Doing fantastic. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing excellent. This project, Ghost of Ruin, seems so cool. It's an interactive show that really invites fans to be a part of the decision-making in this. And that's super cool because when I was a kid, I used to love the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Yes.
And it feels very much like that a little bit, right? Tell me a little bit about Ghost of Ruin.
The show itself, it's a YA adult animated series. We're a bit gritty, a bit dystopian. We've got a lot of action and a lot of character and a little bit of horror thrown in for good measure because we love horror.
I love
and
that.
So the story itself, if you want to hear about that,
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes place in the near future in sort of a tech-driven dystopia, San Francisco, where the Tournament of Ruin is about to debut this brand new, fully immersive technology called neural reality. And so 100 of the world's best gamers, including this one here, are going to compete in this epic battle royale, and they're going to just sort of debut the game. And this kid, Lee, he is this nobody from the Cubes, and he wins a chance to be a part of this once-in-a-lifetime event, and he is just in way over his head. And things go awry, and then they get far worse because what they don't know is there's this something in the game, and it's hunting them, and it's sort of killing them one by one, and really killing them. And they've got to solve this mystery as to what neuroreality really is and what's going on with this monster.
That sounds so incredible, so incredible. AleXa, can you talk to me a little bit about the character you play?
Yeah, sure. So I actually voiced Juggernaut. And the crazy thing is, like, before even getting casted, when I was first presented with, like, you know, the character description, even like a little brief sketch that they had of her, a preliminary, that's the word, sketch, I was like, oh my God, it's me. If I don't get this role, I'm gonna be so sad. And then lo and behold, destiny worked out, and thankfully now I'm a part of it. But Juggernaut, I love her. I love her. She is me, I am her. We live in each other.
That's incredible. Now, with a character like this, like, you don't necessarily know what the story arc's going to be because the fans kind of have a decision-making process in this. Let's talk about some of these badges that fans can have because they have direct access to show creators, a chance to appear on the show.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And they can decide what happens, and they get weekly production updates. Talk to me about some of these things specifically. Like, how do they get a chance to appear on the show?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of this whole community interactivity. It's so brilliant because we actually give the fans a chance to be my favorite is called death drops. So we have a lot of dead bodies in the show and a lot of people dying, and it's a horror show. So and we're an adult show, so it's okay. And we take their pictures and their faces and we put them on these characters that are dead or dying, and they get to actually die in the game.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, everyone's loved it. Yeah, it's part of and we have other things like votes. We get to vote on props and models. We say like what color Juggernaut's boots, and we'll give them like 5 different options, and they'll pick their favorite color. Or there's been dialogue choices. We have had AleXa record 4 different dialogue lines, and we gave the fans a chance to sort of pick which one was going to be in the show, like which one's their favorite.
That's so cool. So that's almost as a fan for you too, because you don't necessarily know where your character is going to go, right?
I mean, there's always a brief, like, overview idea of
Sure.
it, but, like, these small little details, like dialogue changes and everything, it's kind of, it adds a little spice to everything, you know?
It's amazing.
Keeps it lively.
Now, working in the world of animation can be challenging. What would you say is the most difficult or challenging part about bringing this to life?
I think any animated show is difficult to make because you're starting with sort of less than 0.
Right.
And you have to sort of build everything from script to, you know, draw everything to everything has to exist on paper or on the computer now. And so it's like every piece of it's pretty challenging, and there's always like 10,000 moving parts, and they're all important. I think the hardest part about bringing a show like this to life right now is our schedule, because we were on a very accelerated schedule, so that made it a little more challenging. And but it's always difficult to make a good show, I think.
Yeah, of course. Now, AleXa, what did you want to bring to the character of Juggernaut that wasn't necessarily on the page?
Oh, man, I mean, I was given a very good character description, not gonna lie, but I was just like, can I do it justice? Because, you know, with people like Mike Ryan working on the show, I'm like, I don't want to fail this dude. This dude's done so much. His catalog is like, you know? I didn't want to fail this guy. So I just wanted to see what I guess I could accentuate from the description, not so much add, because dare I lay my finger on this? No, who am I? I'm a peasant. But, yeah.
Well, we'll jump in and say that from the very beginning when AleXa auditioned, she was so perfect for Juggernaut because Juggernaut is like this fusion reactor packed into this body. You know,
Right.
it's like, so she's just got a lot of fire, a lot of energy. Actually, you are fire, right? So it's like perfect. So it's the high energy and sort of like this great sense of humor and sort of like just a sort of sassiness that was naturally she brought to the character so beautifully. We had to have her do this.
That's incredible. How does this show differ from anything else you've worked on?
The community aspect, I think, is the biggest difference. It's what I love. I've worked on a lot of shows, and we've been pretty much isolated at the studios, away from the fans. And when we're making the show, and the show comes out 2 years later, and maybe the fans will interact with the fans
Right.
then. And for this, right off the bat, we were talking to the community, talking to the fans. We had this great interactivity, which just made it such a great experience.
Now, let's talk about the rest of the cast, too, because some of them aren't here. But who else can fans expect to hear in Ghost of Ruin?
Well, we have Rosario Dawson. She's brilliant. And we have Justin Long. He's really great. We had so much fun doing these cast records. Who else do we have? We have Michael Longfellow from SNL. We have brilliant veteran actors like John Bentley and Karen Strausman. We have, I'm trying to think if I can't talk about one right now, but the ink is still drying on the contract. There's another surprise casting that we're going to have to release later.
Now, are you guys recording together or individually, like separately?
So, in my case at least, I'm actually based in South Korea. So I am by myself in the booth in some studio in Korea, Zoom calling them, and I'm like, hey, does this work? And they give me direction, and that's how my recording was done at least. But
Can you talk to me about building that chemistry, not being there with your fellow actors?
right. I mean, I have yet to meet them in person. I really hope that day comes in the future. But I don't know. Knowing who the cast is, I have great faith that we're all going to blend very nicely together as like one whole family on the show. So, yeah.
Well, if you do want to meet that cast, hopefully Comic-Con 2024, right? Like,
Aha, bingo.
that's what I'm talking
Bingo.
about.
I like that.
baby.
I like the way you think.
Yeah,
That's
like, so we are in San Diego Comic-Con. Have you guys been at the floor yet at all?
Looked around a bit, had a great time.
Are you a collector of anything out here?
I enjoy comic books.
What's your superhero? What's your go-to?
Oh, there's too many. There's too many, honestly.
How about you? Did you get a chance to visit the floor at all?
Oh yeah, I love the floor. It's one of I've been coming here for, I don't know, more than 20 years, and I love it. I love the art. That's my favorite part, especially when you see all this beautiful art on the walls of these booths, and I just get like a kid in a candy store. I want to buy everything, so.
Well, seeing some of that when you're walking down and seeing Artist Alley and some of these amazing creators, does that help you get kind of any inspiration for Ghost of Ruin?
I think always. I mean, I think we always get inspiration from our fellow artists, and it's like when you see this beautiful art and you see great work, and you're like, I want to do great work too. I want us to match that, So it kind of pushes you to work harder, I think.
So what surprised you both the most about working on Ghost of Ruin?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know. I think it was just, I knew the project was going to be fun, obviously, because, this just sounded like such a fun idea when I was first pitched and everything. But then actually being in the booth, like going over these lines and hearing their feedback of like, okay, imagine the scene, but like with this little extra detail going on. It just was so fun. More fun than I expected. So.
Now, if the audience picks a decision that
Yes.
you may not necessarily agree with, how does that impact your performance? I mean, obviously, it's still a character that you're playing, but how does that impact how you're going to approach the character?
Well, that quite depends. But during the initial recording, we did record 4 versions of a different line, and I think it affects the plot more so than me, honestly. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
I'm here for the vibes. I'm just happy to be here. So yeah.
Yeah, because that's a lot of pressure on you because that's a trickle down effect at that point.
Yeah, that actually, I think maybe it's more on me, that question, because Juggernaut is Juggernaut.
Sure,
and
sure.
We're always true to that character, and the fans are actually so in with us in that they would never sort of betray that character to make us do something that wouldn't fit what AleXa's doing or what Juggernaut's doing. So, but like you said, it does also put an extra pressure on me to make sure everything does kind of follow forward, when we make these decisions or when the fans make these decisions.
That's so cool, though. Putting these characters' lives in the fans' hands. Wow, it's amazing.
Literally.
Well, look, I cannot wait to see Ghost of Ruin. Thank you guys so much for stopping by our booth here at Comic-Con 2023. Enjoy the rest of the con, guys.
Thank you so
Cool.
much.
Appreciate it.